We can make excuses or we can make accommodations. I did 2 things to shorten this workout and actually increase the intensity. Back again, row learners. A couple things I wanted to talk about today. As you guys know, I'm a corporate professional. I work long hours sometimes. This is not what I do as a full-time job. And people always ask me, how do I stay fit while still being a corporate professional and a dad and a husband? And also I do a lot of volunteer work. Yesterday was kind of a crazy day. I had a lot on my agenda to do. Woke up early, was doing some of this stuff, social media, but then I had to walk my dog early, work pretty much all morning, and then I helped a member of my church move later that day as well. And then I was able to work out. But when I went back to work out around noon, I went back to work, I still had to do my workout. Now my workouts generally, if I have my full time, usually around 90 minutes. I do about 45 minutes to 50 minutes of weights, and then I do about 30 to 40 minutes of cardio if I can. Going through these to-dos of my day, having to do my work, and I had another meeting later on in the afternoon, I knew I wasn't gonna have time. I knew I wasn't gonna have time to do everything as far as my workout. Yesterday was my chest and back day. That's kind of the split I'm doing right now, which is chest and back, legs, and then kind of shoulders and arms day. Switch between that and a push-pull leg or an upper-lower split. And I usually change that every 4 to 6 weeks. I sometimes will go longer before switching, depending on how I feel. And I feel like my body's plateauing or if I'm not challenged enough. Yeah, it was chest and back yesterday. Generally, my volume, what I had planned for that workout was I do 3 exercises for chest, 3 exercises for back. And I take generally around a 2-minute break in between my sets. Again, about 45, 50 minutes total of what my weights take. I had this meeting, I knew I wanted to work out and I had to get back to work for a meeting around 1. And I finished everything I was gonna do in the morning around noon. So I'm like, okay, I know like for travel time, and my house gotta work from home sometimes, I'm not gonna have time to work out. Right? So what did I do? This is where you make accommodations. And again, really guys, gaining muscle is all about progressive overload. If you don't have time, you make time in the sense of you can make adjustments. Now, obviously you want to stay as consistent as you can, but in these days where things are busy and I have a ton of to-dos, what I did was I still did my 3 exercises of chest and 3 exercises of back, but you can save time and you can still progressively overload. And actually you could play with overload a little bit more. What I did was instead of prolonging it, I did 2 things to shorten this workout and actually increase the intensity. I was able to get even a better pump because I haven't done this in a while. But I eliminated 2-minute rest and I was doing supersets. So I would do a chest exercise and I would go to back, and then I would switch back to the chest, then go to the back, right? And do that superset throughout my 9 exercises that I'm doing, right? For each body part, chest and back. Still going to failure, right? But I had increased the intensity. I was able to finish that workout in about 30 minutes. Next thing is I love to do my cardio. Again, as you guys are getting older, as you get older, right? I mean, I'm getting closer to 40 now than I am to 30. I value cardio, right? I believe cardio is kind of the key to staying lean if you do it consistently over a long period of time, but also your heart health, right? I have kids, I want to live a long time. Longevity is the name of the game as you get older. And I remember having so many people tell me that as I was younger, but it truly is. I want low blood pressure, right? I want a good heart health. It's also good for your brain as well, right? But I didn't have cardio, so I finished it. I was able to make that accommodation, eliminating the rest and doing a superset, getting it done in about 30 to 35 minutes. And I think we all can agree I think we all have time to do that. Now, hopefully you have a gym that's relatively close to you. If you have a home gym, I think that's always been kind of a dream of mine, but that's never been in the cards yet. Maybe one day I'll get a garage, a man cave, but my gym is relatively close. But we all have 30 minutes, I think, to work out. Now, I wanted to do my cardio, right? So I got back, did my meeting at 1, and I was like, I still hadn't done my cardio for the day. And I knew I wouldn't have time because my kids were gonna come home from school and we had some family activities that we needed to take care of. So I did, guys, this is my trick, right? Because cardio is just, you see a lot of guys on YouTube doing steps, right? The key is 8 to 10,000 steps a day. It's just movement, right? Movement burns calories. And so what I did was I knew that, so I told you I helped a neighbor move earlier in the morning, and that was actually cardio. I was sweating. I intentionally tried to pick up the heaviest things and tried to keep the intensity up. It was funny because one of the guys was saying, "Man, we're glad that you came. We never get this done." And he was just an older gentleman, but I was sweating and drenched. I could feel my heart rate up. Right, so I got cardio out of that. But then before my kids got home, I wanted to do the yard real quick. And that is steps, right? That is movement. And it's a hot day. It was a hot day. It was like 90 degrees. So that's intensity right there. So I was mowing, I was edging, and trying to take more steps than I could, right? And we have a relatively big yard, but doing that move on top of the yard work for about an hour definitely is cardio. So why am I saying this? Again, as a corporate professional, as a dad, as a husband, whatever you guys know in your life, life gets busy, right? Especially I think the older you get, the busier you get. And that's kind of where the Achilles heel of staying fit comes in, right? Is that I don't have time. I wanted to share this with you, making those adjustments, working within the 3 categories of progressive overload, right? You can play with volume, right? As far as the amount of sets that you're doing, your frequency or the amount of times you're hitting that muscle per week, and then your intensity. I find that if you want to shorten your workouts, playing with that intensity, eliminating rest times or shortening those rest times can really, really help. As long as you're pushing yourself to failure and you're progressing in your lifts, you're overloading. You're gonna gain muscle. Cardio, again, think about, we just wanna be active, right? And hopefully you have time to be active. I mean, that's something that I can't help you if you say, like, I don't have time to even move, right? If you're sitting in front of a desk, I sit in front of a desk 8 to 10 hours a day sometimes. I work internationally, and so there's times where I'm working late hours in the Asian Asia hours, and the European hours, which are 7 and 12, 13 hours ahead of us. Why am I saying this, guys? First, we do have time, but in those days, legitimately, I don't have time to do all the things that I need to do and still get in my exercise. You can make those adjustments, right? Playing with intensity, eliminating rest times, that can be a huge help for me. And then, okay, what movement am I doing today? If you really want to get your cardio in, you're a dad, you have a house or whatever, what kind of activities you can do? Sometimes I'll combine that with my kids, especially on Saturdays. What I do is I take my kids to the track with some friends, and we play baseball. We also do 100-meter, kind of get my kids to be active, right? And do fun activities. So we play baseball at the track, and we run 400 meters and do 100-meter sprints and time them, right? So combining those things, you can get in your exercise. You got to be creative. But the question that helps me is okay, what am I doing tomorrow? What do I have time for? And then how can I consolidate? Saying again, within the 3, volume, frequency, and intensity, you can play with those and still get in your workout. Push to failure, or at least within 1 to 2 reps of failure. And that's just something I wanted to share with you guys, because again, I know it's a challenge, guys. My son is 10, my daughter is 9, and this has been a struggle for me ever since. A bigger struggle ever since I got married and had kids. We can make excuses or we can make accommodations. Don't say, I can't. Ask yourself, how can I? And then, your priorities, right? I like to talk a lot about priorities, and I have on this channel a few times, but I find that generally our brains, to do something, we're not good multitaskers, right? We don't do well multitasking at all. Sometimes in this world we have to do it, and you can see the quality of your work constantly decline. Ask yourself, what are my musts, right? What are my must-haves? There's a book called The One Thing by Jacob Keller, Keller Real Estate. But he talks about basically prioritizing your day as far as identifying, what are your priorities, things that are important to you? And then sometimes in those days where it really is okay, I don't have time for anything. And I have had those days, guys. I've had days where I've had to work, 13, 14-hour days. What is the one thing I want to get done today? For me, exercise is always at the kind of the top of that list. And one thing that I have found with priorities, back to multitasking, we can only focus on so many things to execute well. For me, I think 3, that magic number 3, I think is a lucky number for a reason, right? And things always come in pairs of 3 sometimes, or in the pairs, but in sets of 3, right? I find that I only can really have 3 priorities, 3 things that I want to get really, really good at and want to execute, and that I can actually improve on and consciously improve while not letting my work quality sacrifice the other areas. Once you start pushing forward, and I have done that, whatever that fourth one is, be prepared for the quality of work to start to decline a little bit. So 3 to 4 priorities, I think, is my max, and I think what I've seen from people, I think that's what we can handle. So figure out what those priorities are, and hopefully, because you're following this channel, fitness is a priority for you, especially as a corporate professional. Hopefully this helps, especially like those of you guys that work heavy hours like me, or have kids, have a house to maintain, right? Have to be happy wife, happy life, right? Or anyways, that's what I wanted to share with you guys today. I guess a couple things here. Right here, I got my protein today. This is one of the proteins that I've recently changed to. It's Orgain. You can find this at Costco. I'm not affiliated with them in anything at all. I used to always get whey protein from GNC. I've also bought it from other brands as well. I mean, as long as it has protein, right? But having gotten older, I want to focus more on hitting my micronutrients, right? My vitamins and my minerals. So I would say, if I love about this, it's a little bit of a downside is a couple downsides with this. It runs out fast, right? I mean, it's like 25 bucks at Costco. I buy a couple of these at a time, but it's 2 scoops a serving. But it has a lot of micros. The biggest thing is magnesium and potassium. It has riboflavin as well for digestion. It's the downside too, because it has micronutrients, it's a little bit higher in carbs. But I'm not afraid of carbs. I think that's a very propaganda thing. You can use carbs, right? I mean, eating starchy carbs all the time, you're gonna feel bloated, so try to stay away from that. But I think this is a super great alternative. It's also, I will say too, it's because of the micronutrients. One thing I love, and some of you guys have been in the fitness industry for a while, a lot of labels are blind labels, right? Meaning that they don't actually say the nutrients in them. They'll say thymine or they'll give you the protein grams, but then it'll list all the amino acids that are in there, but it'll have a little cross, right, next to whatever it's listed. It just means that it's in there, but they're not actually telling you how much is in there. And there's been I've seen over the years how many supplement companies have been deemed because we found that they're not even actually putting it in, right? They put in just a dash into an entire container and say, oh yeah, there's a thymine in there, right? Or there's magnesium in there, or whatever it may be, right? Assuming it has micronutrients. But I always like to get a transparent label, so that way you can actually see servings or grams per serving you're actually getting of whatever vitamins or ingredients that you're looking to get from your protein powder. So this is a transparent label. You know exactly what you're getting. So just a little, I'm not affiliated with them at all. It's something that I've recently transitioned to, and it has some fiber, a little high in carbs, but it digests well. So you don't get those famous protein farts as much. But anyway, guys, hope you guys have a great day. Like and subscribe, leave a comment, guys. I always love hearing from you guys. Again, this is a community, right? I want to share ideas, share things that you're learning as it relates to fitness, maybe challenges that you're having. Have you had a similar issue that I had to yesterday? We will see you guys next time.